Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden is the type of new single-player IP that everyone should support. Don't Nod and Focus Entertainment have given us a large, beautiful, and haunting game. As Red McCraith, you'll venture through 1690s New England alongside the ghost of your dead mentor and love. Impactful choice, excellent voice acting, and Don't Nod's typically fantastic writing are matched by a solid God of War style combat system. I'm gonna break down why, if you love video games and want new single-player experiences to keep coming out, then you need to buy this game. In the XboxEra review of Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden. The soul of Banishers are the Banishers themselves, Antea Duarte and Red McCraith. Actors Amaka Okafor and Russ Bain do wonderful work bringing these two characters to life, even in Antea's death. The prologue sees you visiting New Eden to see a friend. The town has been cursed and he needs your help to lift it. This curse, however, is far more powerful and deadly than anything seen, and Antea is killed. It is impossible to talk about this game while avoiding that, and all of the game's marketing has shown her as a ghost, including the cover. Choice is always key to Don't Nod's titles, and it is as important as ever in Banishers. From the outset, you'll be tasked with choosing to either let Antea go and ascend, or to try and bring her back to life. The latter sounds wonderful until you find out the cost. This back and forth, the tug-of-war of love and fear, tore at me. For roughly 25 hours I held firm, choosing what I believed to be the good path. Still, much like the characters, I was tempted. If my wife died, I would move heaven and earth if it meant I could bring her back. In these types of situations, and choices are a constant. It's a land full of misery, death, love, and hope. Your choices hold dozens of lives in their balance. At one point I saw an evil, wicked man who had sent his men to their deaths knowingly. I was tasked with finding out exactly what happened and came across the ghosts of some of the men. Slowly, over time, the truth came out, adding depth to the first man. His choices made sense even if he was a ripe bastard. And at the end of the quest, I had the game's three major choices. I could either sacrifice the living man and move on the path to resurrecting Andrea. I could banish the ghost and send it to the void, or I could ascend the ghost and give it the peace that it may deserve. What is right and what is wrong is up to you. A few times my decisions led to hopeful outcomes, and other times they turned sour almost immediately. I've so rarely felt this moved by the story of a video game, being responsible for these people's fate. It's the best part of their narrative-focused titles, and it's matched with a large, semi-open world and solid gameplay. Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden is that semi-open world, third-person action game heavily inspired by 2018's God of War reboot. You'll play through the prologue as Antea. Movement is crisp and combat is a little spammy. After the game opens up and you swap characters to Red, things get far more interesting. With Antea by your side in her ghostly form, you'll gain access to her spectral powers. It is a slow burn on gaining them, tied to the main story progression. Leveling up itself is tied to two systems, first being a basic experience-based one for Red, and a haunting-tied side objective one for Andrea. Hauntings are cases, some main quests, though mostly side ones, that find you tracking down various specters and making the choices that define your ending. I was an Ascend-focused Red, though I did banish a few of the more shithead ghosts that were haunting decent people. The movement has all the positives and negatives of the God of War reboot too. Red is quick, with light and heavy swings and a quick dodge move. There are combos you can unlock, and mixing these with Antea's abilities gives the combat enough depth that I never became bored with it. After a short while, Red gets a gun, which I used in both environmental puzzles and combat pretty effectively. There's some pretty heavy aim assist on aim pull, and I had little trouble hitting my targets on Series X. So much of this game, post-prologue, is spoiler heavy to break down. Combat and puzzles are repeated often, though again it's never in a way that wore out its welcome. You'll see the clockwork nature of how the game systems work. It has a light gear and upgrade system, one just deep enough to allow for customization for your preferred playstyle, but it's never a grind. I'd call it all highly competent, which goes for the game's graphics as well. Set in a period rarely seen in gaming, Banishers is a good-looking game in combat and exploration, and an occasionally gorgeous one in its real-time cutscenes. Red and Antea's character models look great, along with the various outfits you can deck Red out in during your adventures. Some townsfolk tend to look a bit European 2010 simulator quality, but they are the rarity. The game features a lot of small logs you can't climb over just yet, or tiny shrubs that are impassable. It's a feature that drove me a bit crazy in God of War, and it's here in full force. Most traversable areas are highlighted with splotches of color that look heavily out of place early on, but after a few hours I appreciated these yellow barrels of the game. They made it easy to know where to go around, as Red is truly terrible at climbing over anything that doesn't have paint puked all over it. The animations during gameplay look good, but shine in cutscenes. Red, Antea, and the people of New Eden's faces and movements help convey the emotions of each scene really well. My favorite part of the game is its combinations of fantastic writing and top-tier voice acting. Russ Bane, Amaka Okafor, Ildiko Presley, and the rest of the cast do some serious freaking work here. They take the nuanced writing and give it a soul that had me never skipping the dialogue once, even if I had finished reading the subtitles. I cannot praise them enough for bringing these characters to life. The sadness in Red's voice, the rising fury in Antea's, and the despair of others had tears welling up in my eyes multiple times during my playthrough. Wrapping things up, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is a fantastic video game. It is the type that raises the medium and shows how incredible these experiences can be. The combat's good enough to rarely hinder your enjoyment as you help or harm the local populace. In an era where new single-player IPs are hard to find, this one deserves to succeed.